"Close your mouth, Emilia," said Grandmère. "Tomorrow you'll do your hair nicely. You'll wear lipstick and paint your nails with nail polish. And you won't wear those big, ugly boots. Now, I have a dinner appointment. Goodbye."
Today, I borrowed one of my mom's lipsticks and took it to school. But I didn't want anyone to see me wearing lipstick. I waited until after my class with Mr. Giannini. When all the other kids had gone home, I went into the girls' room. I put lipstick on my lips and brushed my hair. My hair is very curly. I brushed it and brushed it, but it didn't look better. I'd forgotten about the school computer club. The computer club has a meeting at Albert Einstein High School every Friday afternoon. Lily's brother Michael is in the computer club. When I walked out of the girls' room, I met Michael. I dropped my bag and the lipstick fell out. Michael picked it up. He stared at me in surprise.
"Why are you wearing this?"
he asked, holding the lipstick toward me. "Please don't tell Lily," I said.
"Don't tell Lily what?"
he said.
"Where are you going? Are you going on a date?"
"No, I am not going on a date," I said. "I have to meet my grandmother."
"Do you usually wear lipstick when you meet your grandmother?"
I looked toward the door. Dad's bodyguard, Lars, was standing there. He was waiting for me. He was going to drive me to the Plaza Hotel. "Michael, don't tell Lily about this, okay?" I said. Then I ran away. When I got to the plaza, Grandmère was horrible.
"You're wearing too much lipstick," she said. "And it's the wrong color for you."
I gave her my list of the 10 women who I admire, but she tore up the piece of paper.
"They're not good choices," she said.
Then she told me to come back at 10 o'clock the next morning. "Grandmère, tomorrow is Saturday," I said. "I always help my friend Lily on Saturdays. We film her TV show." But Grandmère didn't listen to me. So when I got home, I called Lily. I wanted to say, "I can't help you tomorrow. I have to spend the day with my grandmother." But no one answered the phone. The Moscovitz family were out. Saturday, October 11th, 9:30 a.m. I called Lily early this morning. This was our conversation. "You have to spend the day with your grandmother?" she said angrily. "I don't believe you, Mia. Why didn't you say no to your grandmother? We always spend Saturdays together." "Lily, you don't know my grandmother," I said. "She's scary. I can't just say no to her." "I don't know your grandmother," said Lily. "That's true, Mia. I don't know anything about her. It's very strange. You knew all about my grandparents." I've never introduced Lily to Grandmère because Grandmère hates children. Also, she hates hearing about poor people's problems. Lily makes TV films about the problems of poor people. I can't introduce Lily to Grandmère now. I'm a princess. I don't want Lily to know about my future life in Genovia. "Well, come to my place tonight," Lily said. "I have to finish my film. You can help me." Then she hung up the phone. Now I'm in the car with Lars. We've just arrived at the Plaza Hotel. I'm going to meet Grandmère. Chapter 6. Blonde Hair and Fake Nails. Saturday, October 11th, late afternoon. I can never go to school again. I can never go anywhere again. I'm so embarrassed. I look awful. I'm really angry with Grandmère. This morning, she was waiting for me in the entrance of the Plaza Hotel. "On y va," she said, which in English means, "Let's go." "Let's go where?" I asked.
"Chez Paolo,"
said Grandmère. Chez Paolo means Paul's house. Maybe Grandmère has a friend called Paul, I thought, and maybe we're going to his house. But Chez Paolo wasn't a house. It was a beauty salon, and Paolo was a stylist. He makes ordinary people like me look beautiful. That is Paolo's job. First, he cut my hair short. Then he colored it blonde. My real fingernails are very ugly because I bite them, so he stuck beautiful long fingernails made of plastic on top of my own nails. Then he put makeup on my face. When Paolo had finished, I looked in a mirror. I got a shock. He had turned me into a different person. Then Grandmère took me to some very expensive shoe shops and clothes shops. She bought me 4 pairs of shoes and lots of clothes. Grandmère's very happy because I don't look like Mia Thermopolis anymore. Mia Thermopolis never had blonde hair or fake fingernails. Mia Thermopolis never wore makeup or beautiful expensive shoes and clothes. But I'm not happy at all. Who am I now? I don't know. I'm not Mia Thermopolis. Grandmère is turning me into someone else. As soon as I got home, I tried to talk to my dad, but he didn't listen to me.
What's the problem, Mia? He said. You look beautiful. I like your new hairstyle. It's very nice.
My mom came out of her bedroom. She was wearing a new skirt and top, and she looked great. She was going out on another date with Mr. Giannini. My dad stared at her. Mia, said my mom, your grandmother is just trying to prepare you. Prepare me for what? I said. I'm the Princess of Genovia, but I don't want anyone to know this. They'll find out about you soon, said my mom. Maybe they'll read your story in the newspaper. Why will it be in the newspaper? I asked. My mom and dad looked at each other. Then my dad took out his wallet. He opened it and took out some money.
All right, Mia, he said. How much do you want?
I was shocked. So was my mom.
I'm serious, he said. The Thermopolis-Ronaldo agreement isn't working. I want your grandmother to turn you into a princess, so I'll pay you to go to the princess lessons. How much do you want, Mia?
I started to speak. I didn't want any money, but my dad said,
Listen, I'll give $100 a day to Greenpeace. The money will arrive with a letter from you. The money will help Greenpeace to save a lot of whales. But you'll learn how to be a princess. Do you agree?
I want to work for Greenpeace when I leave school. If I pay them all that money, they'll have to give me a job. So I agreed. I'll learn to be a princess. Evening. Lily Moscovitz and I had a fight. A big argument. She isn't my friend anymore. This is what happened. I couldn't help Lily with her film this morning. I had to go out with Grandmère, so Lily told me to help her this evening. When I walked into the Moscovitz's apartment, she stared at my hair. What happened to you? She said in a shocked voice. My grandmother took me to a guy called Paolo. But Lily wouldn't let me finish my explanation. Your hair is the same color as Lana Weinberger's, she said. And what are those things on your fingers? Are those fake fingernails? Lana Weinberger has those too. You're turning into Lana Weinberger. I started to get angry. I am not turning into Lana Weinberger. This wasn't my idea, I said. It was my grandmother's decision. I had to agree. Why didn't you say no to your grandmother? Said Lily. I asked you to help me, but you said no. Then your grandmother told someone to cut off your hair. She told them to color it yellow, and you let her do this. I got really mad. It had been a very difficult day. Lily, I said angrily, shut up. I've never told Lily to shut up before. Why was Lily telling me what to do? Then Michael came out of his bedroom. When he saw me, he looked very surprised. What did you just say to me? Said Lily. She was angry now. My mom, my dad, my grandmother, and my teachers are always telling me what to do, I said. You're my friend. Now you're telling me what to do too. What is your problem? Said Lily. I don't have a problem, I said. But you seem to have a big problem with me. so I'm leaving. And, I said, opening the door, my hair is not yellow. I went home and took a hot bath. Then I picked up Fat Louie and got into bed. Lily hasn't called and apologized. I'm not going to call her first. I looked in the mirror a few minutes ago. My hair doesn't look so bad. 11:59 p.m. Lily still hasn't called. Sunday, October 12th, morning. Something has just happened. It was very embarrassing. I walked into the kitchen to get some breakfast. My mom and Mr. Giannini were sitting at the table. They were eating pancakes. They were very surprised to see me. "What are you doing here, Mia?" asked Mom. "You were going to stay at Lily's place last night." I didn't reply. At that moment, I wanted to be at Lily's place. I didn't want to see Mr. Giannini having breakfast in our kitchen. He had spent the night at our place with my mom. I didn't want to know this. "Frank missed his train home last night," said my mom. "So I asked him to spend the night here. He slept on the couch in the living room." She was lying. I knew that, but I didn't say anything. Late morning. After breakfast, my mom and Mr. Giannini went to Central Park. They asked me to go with them, but I didn't go. I have lots of homework to do. That's what I told them. Maybe they'll kiss each other. I didn't want to see that. People kiss on TV, and that's okay. But my mom kissing my algebra teacher? No. Afternoon. I've just turned on my computer. I've got an email from Michael Moskovitz. He's going to help me with my extra algebra. I can't believe it. Wasn't that nice of Michael? Chapter 7. A New Friend. Sunday, October 12th, late evening. My dad called me after lunch.
"I want you to come to the Plaza Hotel this evening. I want you to have dinner with me and Grandmère," he said. "I'll send Lars to pick you up in the car."
When I told Mom, she looked happy. "That's okay," she said. "I'll stay here. I'll order some food from my favorite Thai restaurant. I'll watch TV." Dinner at the plaza was very boring. I couldn't eat most of the food because it was meat, but I ate some fish and some chocolate ice cream. Dad kept asking me questions about Mom and Mr. Giannini.
"Do you feel okay about your mom dating your algebra teacher?" he asked.
Why is my dad asking me this? My mom likes Mr. Giannini. I know that. But does she love him? I don't know. I didn't tell my dad about Mr. Giannini staying the night. When I got home, I saw 2 empty cartons of Thai food in the kitchen. Was Mr. Giannini here for dinner? I asked my mom. "Oh no," she said quickly. "I was very hungry, so I ordered 2 meals." My mom has told me 2 lies today about Mr. Giannini. Lily still hasn't called. Monday, October 13th, morning. This morning, I asked Lars to stop the car at Lily's apartment building. I wanted her to ride to school with us, but she had already left her apartment. Afternoon. I usually sit with Lily in our school cafeteria at lunchtime, but today, a boy called Boris Pelkalski was sitting beside Lily. He was sitting in the seat where I usually sit. Lily likes Boris Pelkalski because he's a great musician. Boris comes from Russia, and he plays the violin. He also wears his clothes in a weird way. I got a plate of salad and looked around. Most of the tables in the cafeteria were full of students. Who can I sit with? I thought. Tina Hakim Baba was sitting at one of the tables. No other students were sitting with her. Tina's parents are very rich. Her father comes from Saudi Arabia, and he owns an oil company. Tina's parents are frightened of kidnappers. Mr. and Mrs. Hakim Baba don't want kidnappers to take Tina. Kidnappers usually want lots of money before they release a person. People have been hurt or killed by their kidnappers. Tina's parents are very careful. They send her to school in a limousine with a bodyguard. The bodyguard follows Tina everywhere. All the other students call Tina a freak. Tina was reading a book and the bodyguard was sitting beside her. Tina had a plate of salad just like me, but she hadn't chosen a salad because she's a vegetarian. She'd chosen it because she's a little heavy. She wants to lose weight. I walked over to her table and put my plate down. "Can I sit here?" I asked. Tina looked up in surprise. She looked at me, and then she looked at the bodyguard. The bodyguard nodded. Tina laid her book on the table and smiled. She has large brown eyes and a nice smile. "Yes," she said. "Please sit with me." Tina and I ate our salads and talked about school. There's going to be a dance at Albert Einstein on Saturday. I asked Tina if she had a date for the dance. "A boy from Trinity is taking me to the dance," she replied. Trinity is a school for rich boys. I liked talking to Tina. She wasn't a freak at all. She was really nice. When she got up to get a drink, I looked at the book beside her plate. Tina was reading a romantic novel called My Name is Amanda. Lana Weinberger walked over to the table. "What has happened to your hair, Mia?" she said loudly. "It's a horrible yellow color." Then Tina came back, holding an ice cream. She gave the ice cream to me. "Oh, Tina," said Lana. "Did you buy that ice cream for Mia? Did your daddy give you money to buy a new friend?" Tina was very hurt by Lana's words, and her eyes filled with tears. I felt very angry with Lana. Suddenly, I took the ice cream and pushed it onto Lana's sweater. Everyone in the cafeteria stopped talking. They stared at us. "Look at what you've done!" Lana screamed. I stood up and picked up my plate of salad. "Come on, Tina," I said. "Let's go somewhere quieter." Tina picked up her salad and followed me. Her bodyguard followed too. He was laughing. Lily Moskovitz was staring at me. Her mouth was open with shock. Late afternoon. I'm in a lot of trouble. I'm sitting in Principal Gupta's office. Principal Gupta is the head of the school. I was sent here because I pushed ice cream into Lana Weinberger's sweater. I'm worried. What's going to happen? Evening. Principal Gupta has punished me. She has given me a week's detention. Every day next week, I have to stay for an hour after school and do extra work. I also have to do my extra algebra every day with Mr. Giannini and the princess classes with Grandmère. "Lana's sweater has to be cleaned and you must pay," said Principal Gupta. "And you must apologize to her." "I'm sorry, Principal Gupta," I said. "I'll pay for Lana's sweater to be cleaned, but I won't apologize to her." Principal Gupta was surprised, but she wasn't angry with me. "Mia," she said quietly, "I'm worried. You've never been in trouble before. Is everything all right? Do you have any problems at home?" I thought about all my problems. My mom is dating my algebra teacher. My best friend hates me. I'm 14 and I've never had a date. I'm too tall and too thin. And I'm the princess of Genovia. But I didn't want to talk about these things with Principal Gupta. "Everything's fine," I lied. "You're a very special person," said Principal Gupta. "You're good and kind. Lana Weinberger is just like you. She's a very nice girl, too." Principal Gupta doesn't understand. Lana Weinberger isn't like me at all. Tuesday, October 14th. When Laz and I arrived at school this morning, Tina Hakim Baba was arriving at the same time. We smiled at each other and went into school together. Her bodyguard followed us. I told my parents what happened yesterday, said Tina. I told them what Lana said. I told them about your fight with Lana. They've invited you to dinner on Friday. You can stay the night at my house. Okay, I said. I smiled. Thanks. I like Tina. She's nice to me. Afternoon. I just heard some news and I can't believe it. Lily is going to the dance on Saturday. She's going with Boris Pelkowski. I'm the only girl in my class who doesn't have a date for the dance. The only one. Why am I such a freak? Chapter 8. In the News. Tuesday, October 14th, evening. This afternoon, while Michael Moskowitz was helping me with my algebra, he asked me a strange question. Are you doing anything on Saturday evening? A teacher came into the room before I could reply, but I knew what Michael was going to ask me. He wanted me to meet him on Saturday. He was going to help me. He was going to give me some extra algebra work. I don't want to do extra algebra, not on the weekend. Grand-mère is very happy. She heard about my friendship with Tina Hakim Baba. Tina's father is a rich Saudi Arabian prince. He knows lots of other rich people. Wednesday, October 15th. When I got to school today, lots of kids were staring at me. Maybe there was something wrong with my hair. I went into the girls' room to look in the mirror. Some girls saw me. They ran out of the room laughing. Late morning. A weird thing just happened to me. Josh Richter, the most popular boy in the school, came up to me.
Hi, Mia. How are you?
He asked. I couldn't answer. Josh Richter never speaks to me. Then he bent down until his face was close to my face. His eyes are very blue.
See you later,
he said softly. Then he walked away. Principal Gupta's office. Now I know why everyone was staring at me. I know why the girls ran out of the girls' room. I know why they laughed at me. I know why Josh Richter spoke to me. My story is in the news. My picture is on the cover of the newspaper, the New York Post. The picture shows me leaving the Plaza Hotel on Sunday night. Over the photo are the words, Princess Amelia. Underneath the picture are the words, New York's Royal Princess. Mr. Giannini saw the picture on his way to work. He called my mom, but she didn't hear the phone. So he called my dad at the Plaza Hotel. My dad told him to bring me to Principal Gupta's office. While I waited for my dad, I looked at the New York Post on Principal Gupta's desk. I read the story about me. It was by a reporter called Carol Fernandez. She wrote about my mom and dad, too. She called my mom the black-haired artist, Helen Thermopolis. She called my dad the handsome Prince Philippe of Genovia. And she called me the tall and beautiful Princess of Genovia. Carol Fernandez must be crazy. I'm not beautiful.
Mia, you're a princess,
said Principal Gupta.
Why didn't you tell me?
I didn't want anyone to know, I said. Here comes my dad now. Afternoon. I'm mad with my dad. He made me stay at school and go back to my classes. You don't understand, Dad, I said. All the kids are laughing at me. Why did you tell Carol Fernandez about me?
Me?
Said my dad in a surprised voice.
I didn't tell that reporter anything.
Then he looked at Mr. Giannini. Mr. Giannini was standing by the door. His hands were in his pockets.